Oh, yeah, nasty
Quite a
truck
thing.
coming
I have
through.
to
Right.
match up all that stuff, it's a nightmare.
But it'll stay right there at Kokomo for a couple of days. Kokomo gets hit with storms all the time. It's like,
It's nice for our cuts, for our citizens to have credit cards. It's not fun when I have to reconcile it. It takes me a long time to.
all right, Joe, are you coming?
I can understand that. All right, so. May the 10th?
Nope, I just texted him and there he is. Boy, he responds really well.
You probably let him in.
I let him in, I got it, it's open.
Is it over now? Okay.
I just wanted to lock Terry out.
As if you passed, they just texted you, you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Ignore my text. There might have been some foul language in it.
Yes. We all ignore your texts.
I don't need your permission. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Scared.
You want to pray a minute?
Sure.
I was waiting for you to say no. I did it for 8 years, so you're kind of good. All right, 7 o'clock. Let's get it started.
Dear Lord, we come before you, asking you for your grace and mercy, direction and wisdom. Help us to be wise in our decisions. Help us to do what's best for the community, for the future of the community, for our children. Thank you and praise you for your overseeing of this tonight. In your name we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Amy, roll call. Roll call, Amy.
Tammy Sample. Here. Judd Scott.
Here.
Adam Jones.
Here.
Steve Rogan.
Here.
Tom Roberts.
All right, we got the council meeting from July 15th and special meeting from July 28th, minutes to approve. Let's do them, is everybody here both nights? No. Let's do one at a time. So July 15th, who wants to do it?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from July 15th as written.
All right, can I get a
Second
second?
it.
All right, all in favor? Anybody opposed? All right, then July 28th special meeting. Joe was late, Tammy didn't make it, and so did the rest of us. So I need a
I make a
motion.
motion that we accept the minutes from the meeting.
Can I get a second?
1 second.
All right, any discussion? Let's go ahead and do a roll call for this one.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Steve Rogan.
Yes.
Tammy Sample.
Abstain.
Tom Roberts.
Yes.
Joe Scott.
Yes.
All right. Financial reports. We have Steve reviewed the bank reconciliation, and signed off on it. Everybody look good with that? Reconcile?
That's great.
All right. Okay, and then the payroll report, which we review and sign off on, we don't really need an approval for either. But it's part of an internal control structure, so it's all done. Good. Departmental reports, sanitation.
No report.
All right, any questions?
I will say I got an email from Melinda from Waste Management, and they are going to be sending cards out to our residents because they have a new truck with the automatic and with a little more instruction on how they would like for them to set their trash cans out, how close, how far apart. And so that all should be coming to everyone in the mail soon.
They used that last week.
Yeah, it was a maiden voyage, she said last week, but they're gonna try to train everyone, so
So
make it easier.
just so everybody can hear, what's the company called?
Waste management.
Waste Management is going to send out cards about how to handle the trash cans. That we're gonna start getting the automated dumper, so. All right.
I will add that with that new truck, it may be later in the day when you get your trash picked up and what you're cutting.
Okay.
But if you think they missed, then they need to contact somebody on the board or contact me and I can get a hold of the lady. And they'll circle back around and pick those up.
We had a few calls last week because it was a little slower. People were worried that their trash can get picked up, but they got everybody. So
Okay.
we had a few calls.
They, with that being on the right side of the truck, they can't get everybody on the same street all the time now. Have to go down, make a loop, and come back. So if they pass your house and don't get too worked up, they should be back by and get it.
All right, water. Everything's going fine with the water. We have, need to get a couple new valves. And so we got bids on those, some quotes, and the best quote is from Lane for 2 valves and labor to install them for $34.70. Peerless was the other bidder or quoter, and they were about $4,500. So the best quote by about $1,100 is Lane. Can I get a motion for using Lane?
I'll make a motion that we use the Lane Services to replace the valve.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Amy?
How much?
30, actually it's $34.70 is Lane's quote. And Peerless was, I'm gonna add that. $44.38.
Tammy Sample,
Yes.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Steve Rogan,
Yes,
Joe Scott,
Yes,
Tom Roberts.
Yes. Okay, any questions for the water?
I think we're okay with the group that we got,
Yeah.
take care of it.
It's going smooth. Street department, Tammy.
They have been working on getting the rest of the lines painted. They have those done for the school crossings. And then they've been working on, they've been kind of tied up with the water and the parks, but.
Right. I noticed they got the speed limit sign down on
Yes.
River Road.
And we also moved the one here out front, we moved it, they measured from the other end to where it was, and then this one to the other end. I don't know if you paid attention, but when we left last time, every time the train went by, it was calculating. So we do have that moved, and honestly, even like myself, I have noticed, you know, it gives you a little bit more time to be aware that there is a speed limit.
Yeah, because you can see it coming across the
Yeah.
railroad tracks now, all the way down there, and it gets you like speed pretty quick.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think it's working out really well.
I would be curious what the numbers are on River Road. I think we need to adjust that sign where it is. I've been working with Brad, but when we actually see the numbers, because we don't feel like they're getting accurate numbers from where that sign is compared to the hill. I honestly think it needs to be moved more into town.
One pole.
Yeah.
and do it.
Mhm.
I'd almost rather have it down the hill a little bit. Because you tend to speed up that hill.
Well,
And when you
there's
get over
the
hill, you
stop
see the speed
sign, there's the
I
stop
know.
sign, so it more or less gives them more chance to.
Yeah.
Because when they get to the top of that hill, it is as fast as they can go until the next turn. And then the one down in front of Brad's house, they are having an issue with the satellite. And he's supposed to be getting a hold of those. I don't know if you've noticed, but a couple of times, if you came through town, it is not picking up speed.
It
But
walked
that's
and
fine.
went out this weekend.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Hold on just a second.
Sure.
And we are still working on getting a quote for the painting of the railroad crossing. More or less, the reason it is so expensive is because more or less that's a trademark of how they have to get that painted and the dimensions, but
Well, along those lines, because submitted, I found a grant out there, even though it's only $1,700, still saves us $1,700. And so, East Central Indiana Economic Development Group helped me put together the grant real quick and send it in. And I asked whether or not we could go ahead and paint it and get reimbursed. And she actually asked NDOT, and they said no. You have to wait to paint it until you get approved for the grant. So in the meantime, we can't paint it yet anyway.
okay.
So I have your data.
Pardon?
So River Road, roughly let's just call it 4,000 of the 5,000 cars that have went into town on River Road between August 1st and August 10th. We're traveling between 26 and 35 miles an hour. I pulled it up on the,
And the speed limit is 30 there, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
it's 25.
it's still 30.
Still
It's still listed as 30 on the
Yeah.
side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's the graph. Now, there is one person who is going between 56 and 60 miles an hour.
Whoa.
That's where you wanna ring them up, James.
What was James?
That could have been
What is it, James?
I can see the sign on my
I think we need to move it in still a little bit. I think you'll see the numbers adjust to going
A little
a
faster.
faster speed.
But you're gonna see some of these too, like when we pull out and go, when we're going on an emergency run.
Mhm.
it'll
Sure.
go really quick.
Yeah, actually, so the average doesn't look bad. This, obviously there'll be some outliers.
I guess my opinion, that's why I wanted to move it down the hill, was I don't want them to speed. In other words, I don't want to catch them speeding. I wanted them to see the sign and say, oh, I'm going too fast, I'll slow down now. Rather than, because I know I got to the top of the hill and there it was. So,
Can you
Probably
have one up here?
Down by where the
Away from us,
balloons
maybe the
used to
sign.
live and where Laura lives, I probably put it right in the middle. Cause that's just about at the top of the hill, so they're coming up, you can actually see it there.
I don't know whether, because I know there's some trees or bushes, shrubs there too, so I don't know whether they can get a good signal from the satellite or something, so.
That right from the trees.
Yeah, that's true.
It's in the right of way.
I like that.
Tree.
Yeah. So look at both those things. All right, ready to move on? P and Z, Jimmy.
We had a short meeting, the only complaint we had was about property on Tennessee Street being mowed, and that part of the street department, so Tammy's got noted both properties on each side of the street.
She said she
You can hear Amy. She heard Dad there.
Okay, all right, police.
You guys didn't get your activity report for the reason why, the New World system has been down some last week and it was down today. So we haven't been able to send anything out. Also, the Bureau of Justice Assistant grants are coming out. I'm gonna get with, Brad Cookout and see if I can get this done, but, the money's gonna be for, speed limit signs to kind of, they can hook up to the truck, take it, put it anywhere in town. Also some of the signs like what we have now, where we can put messages and stuff. They say like the update for the COVID-19 and things like that, so. We're gonna apply for that. Last Monday, all the guys, they went through their implicit bias training. So they did that, and we're getting ready to do a cultural diversity training with the guys. That way they are all up to date. You got something to bring up, right?
Yep, so, over the weekend, we had, a large number of, animals, stray animals, come in. And, I think it's starting to get out of control. I know we haven't been able to yet work out any type of arrangement with Muncie or, Anderson or Madison County's animal shelter. I think that we need to make some adjustments here and have some type of kennel that we can deal with this. I don't think we need to make a large investment, but we do need to do something. We can't, the one cage is worked out and then it doesn't. So I'm open to some ideas, but I know that we need to do something.
Well, 5 of the dogs were labs, I believe, and they would not fit in that cage right there.
One would.
Well, maybe more.
So do you mean that we need to invest in a shelter that would house kennels and the cages?
I think more along the lines of we do something a little bit more permanent, but not over the top. Maybe like a pad, a cement pad, fenced in that we can segment off when needed.
Yeah, the only concern I would have is something happens in the winter, our ones having to sit outside.
Yeah, we'll have to come up like a doghouse or some type of covering or something. But I'm with you. And maybe it's that's used in, when we get cases where we have multiple animals and we continue to keep the cage near for the onesie twosies or for the ones who aren't aggressive, but
Okay.
something along those lines.
I had a phone call from a neighboring town who was asking, just today, asking what our policy was. They were asking, and this would be a lawyer question, is there any way we can pass something that we can't find a place to take the dogs to, the animal shelter somewhere. If we keep the dogs for 2 weeks, we can adopt them out ourselves.
I think you already have that in place. Like
For an ordinance, like a
like a boarding fee? type
Yeah,
thing?
well, but as far as not giving them back to necessarily the owner, but somebody, this dog's been up here for 2
Oh.
weeks, and I say, hey, I'd really like to have that dog. Can I adopt the dog from the town? Can we set, the question to me was, can we set an ordinance that would allow us as a town to do that?
You-
Charge our own fees, charge whatever we want.
Yeah, you could. I mean, the issue is administration, because you're gonna have to go through the whole, vet stuff, getting them checked out and lots. I mean, if are they vicious or ferocious or, there's a lot of things that really good, but you can. I mean, Split City Muncie does, so.
I mean, because, for example, we had the one dog, not the labs, but it's a small dog from up here. We put it on Facebook for somebody to, and we had so many people that came up wanting to take the dog
really?
before the owner got up here to get the dog, so I just,
I would be totally opposed to the fact that you're saying you want to adopt the dog. You're saying you can adopt it. We are not
Okay.
adopting any dogs ever.
that was just an example, Tom.
Every time there's a dog in the cage, Jimmy says, I'll take it.
That was just an example, but I just didn't know, it would be would we have to then make sure the dog was vaccinated? Would we have to make sure, I don't know how far it goes with that.
We would have to put in place an adoption fee to pay for all of that, and if somebody wanted to come out and adopt it, because we're also gonna have to feed it, we're gonna have to water it.
Well, and, there'd be a fee for them to adopt it, it would have to cover, the boarding fees up to, I don't know, it was a question, and I said, oh, little fee.
I would have a question about the
$125
water.
now.
It's $125, yeah.
When we were with the Muncie Animal Shelter, so we're also gonna have to come up with some fee, if it's gonna be the $125 for when somebody wants to come up and pick the dog up, because once again, we'll be housing the dog, we'll be feeding the dog, watering the dog. So,
And then if you
Right now,
keep
we
that
just
dog
have in
for a
place,
while-
And really got to fund the shelter.
Yeah.
That we're putting.
Well, I think we start walking this real fine line between, do we want to become a shelter? And put this fee structure in place. I think the biggest thing I'd be concerned about is, can we get an ordinance that says after X amount of time, an animal in our possession can be released to whomever. And the other side would be, having a minimal fee that maybe covers our expenses, but at least just keeps some weirdos from coming out there and just grabbing a dog or a cat to, to do whatever, those standard horror stories that you hear.
Well, the 125 was initially because the Muncie Animal Shelter was charging us 100 if they came out and picked up the dog. So we were charging, 125 to recoup and for our process of us getting it over there.
So we could
Right.
actually just $2,500
Right,
for a cat.
something along those lines. We just cover our expenses.
But then we'd have to come up with a number.
What are you gonna do in the winter time? Leave it outside?
That's what we just talked about.
That's what we were talking about. It's like, we have the cage back there. But we also need to have some type of plan in place or something for these instances where we get a bunch of dogs. Because the number drops down significantly over the winter. It almost becomes non-existent.
And then you've got who's taking care of the dog. If the dog wants to stay caged all day, who's taking it out, letting it out to go relieve itself, who's feeding it, and then overnight. is
But that's what
complete-
the kennel people were.
Or the,
That's
who's
the
gonna
reason why
man
you
it
would
though?
want a cement floor, that way it's easier
Spray it on.
to spray it down.
But overnight, and who's going, who's gonna be responsible for it? Is it
I
the
mean,
police
one of-
department? Is it
One of my
us?
guys, like at night, they just
Yeah.
stop by and make sure.
Make sure it's
warm.
okay.
But even during the winter, I mean, if it comes down to it, you can get like a small type building like what you have out here, connect to it and put some kind of heat with inside of it, with like the flaps where the dogs can get in and out.
Brad's not here, so he said he'd take care of all that.
You're learning.
You're gonna get a text in about 2 minutes.
It's just one of those things, like this weekend, 5 dogs, what would we do with them? Bring it up here, kind of loose in the garage, shut the door. And Brandon would have to deal with it on Monday when they come in, so.
No.
Need a list of foster people that want to
Yeah.
take care of it.
There you
Somebody
go,
picks it up.
that's true.
All right, we beat that. We can. We good?
Well, you didn't decide anything.
Well, no, we can't decide anything tonight.
I just want to get the ball rolling on a discussion and start getting a plan in place for maybe next meeting.
I think the one who got the ball rolling will probably come up with a plan next time.
Okay.
Would that be you, Adam? Okay.
Everything. The heights of the hill that we sit on, it all just rolls down.
We can find out how much a cement pad can buy in.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Maybe just one of those little Eskimo dog
and
houses.
then we've got Amy that can get them on Amazon. Check the
You leave Amy out of the dog business.
Oh, well, she can't adopt.
Okay.
She can just price the check.
Okay.
It's gotta be built in the ordinance.
Yeah, I know. Okay, let's move on. And let's just jump real quick because I noticed Mr. C is here and let's get him take care of that way he can leave it once. We had a BZA meeting tonight and he would requested a variance on a, what'd you call it, a garage or
Yeah, detached garage.
in his back yard, right? And the BZA committee made a recommendation. Todd,
Yes.
I'll leave it to
Made a
you.
recommendation to approve the variance to allow him to build his garage instead of the 10 by 12 accessory structure that the current code calls for.
So we need to make a motion to approve that recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve that recommendation?
Make a motion, we approve.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Steve. Let's do a roll call.
You're approving the recommendation from BZA.
Mhm. So,
I guess-
variance.
Anybody have any questions? I didn't want to skip that. Any questions or anything like that? All right, Amy.
Tammy Sample,
Yes.
Adam Jones, Steve Rowe.
Amy, should I abstain?
Yes, you should. Tammy Sample,
I abstain.
Adam Jones,
Yes,
Steve Brogan,
Yes.
Joe Scott,
Yes.
and Tom Roberts.
Yes. All right, there you go. So you want to get out of here, you're welcome. Otherwise, you don't
Storm.
entertain them. You can hang out.
Yeah, storm is fastly approaching.
And Tammy wants to get out.
Don't you get a bit already?
Did you get the building permits this back? I come back in and talk to you guys, right? To take care of all that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys.
Are we done, James? You got anything else? I'm sorry.
I don't know if I told him.
All right, clean docket. Can I get a motion to
I
pass?
just had one question. How's the officer doing?
He paid, yeah.
His, specialist had to go out of town, so right now we're waiting on him to get back, for him to go and do some more testing. Well, right.
Now, is he still in the hospital?
No, he's not, but he said as soon as he gets his appointment, he'll let me know.
All right, clean docket. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we approve the claim document.
Okay, second, I get a second?
I will second.
Okay, any discussion? All right. Amy?
Oh, I'm doing.
We can do it all. Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? What was I gonna say? Okay, new business.
Oh, you forgot the park.
Oh, I did?
They're probably not.
It's not on here. Park.
Well, I can give a report there. We're going to have the trees taken down, the bee tree and the ash tree. We managed to get one quote, and only one person, so I'm going to have them do it so we can get it right away because we're getting lots of complaints about bees. So I'm hoping that will take care of it. And I'm idiot.
Did they talk about the official closing of the pad?
Oh, yes, we're going to close on Labor Day,
Labor
or
After Labor Day's over.
Tuesday after Labor Day will be so Labor Day will be the last day the splash pad is open.
All right. Now, where am I at? Oh, when we went through the budget, Amy and I, we had a recommendation from our DLGF member that we, the last 6 months of the year, usually we have local income tax certified shares go to the general fund. He recommended, because of the NVH being in financial straits at the time, that those shares go to the MVH, which they can, I guess, we found out. And so we'd like to have a motion from the board to, for the next 6 months, including, from July 1 to December 31st, that the LIT certified shares go into MVH instead of the general fund. That amounts to, how much, Amy? Any chance you know?
I know. 7,000, something like that.
Do I have a fund report? But anyway, I'll go ahead and do that. I need a motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that the LIT certified shares are aggregated into the MVH fund for the remainder of the year, dating back to July 1st.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
What's the advantage of doing that?
It just helps the MVH fund out. Right now, it's actually negative. And we'll have to do some finagling at the end of the year to move some expenses around, to reduce our expenditures in the MVH to make it, it has to be positive at the end of the year. So this really helps it out. So, and the general fund's in decent shape. It's just a difficult year with the state the way it is. We actually did all right with our property tax revenue coming in. So I don't know how the county overall, do you know, James?
Well, actually, I believe what Donna does, she sends everybody else's money out first,
Okay.
and then we just take what's left.
Oh.
Yeah, so,
Congratulations. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right, Amy? Roll call, please.
I'm voting no.
Yeah,
Okay.
you made a motion.
I'm sorry, I missed the motion. Who did the motion? Steve and
No, it was,
Joe?
Adam.
Joe and
Joe and Adam.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, I got behind here.
It's not going to all. She's thinking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, it is.
She's thinking names for the dogs.
She's got a collar.
Tammy Stample,
Yeah,
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Steve Rogan,
Yes.
Joe Scott,
Yeah,
Tom Roberts.
Yes. Okay. Received communication from a gentleman from an IDNR and saying that we noticed that your town is not involved in the flood insurance program. I didn't know that. So anyway, he sent me some information and a way to become part of that National Flood Insurance Program. Now, according to what I've been reading, is it really doesn't cost the town any more money. The question is, I don't know enough yet to know whether we want to do this. There's some evidence, Tammy was brought up earlier tonight, that it really gives availability for others to get flood insurance then, that,
if they offer you a chance to participate in the flood program and you decline, then the people that want to purchase flood insurance, it is not available for them to benefit through FEMA. But if we do participate and they do a study that says whatever area is deemed to be in specific zones, then it will change insurance, mortgages, those types of things, because then you become required to carry a certain amount of insurance. And those rates can be very expensive. I don't know. I do look at the area like, we have a lot of White River, and it could very well affect a lot of people in that area. But if there was a flood, there would be no way for them to be able to participate in the disaster program either.
so,
There's pros and
And that
cons.
would be
Right.
beyond any flood insurance they would purchase individually.
right, yeah. So I don't want to pass anything tonight necessarily, but I do want to say, they provided me a sample resolution, and we have to do a resolution and an ordinance. And so I would like to address this again next month, but I want everyone to do some research, especially maybe Joe could help us out here. So, and I wouldn't mind if maybe you could put something out on the listserv, Annie, to find out what other entities are doing, or if they've been approached by this and what it is. But I mean, it's IDNR, so it's not a fly-by-night company it's Department of Natural Resources.
Well, like even Alexandria, they hadn't really had a flood for a long time, and then they actually redesigned the zones, and then people were really buying the flood insurance, because then it became mandatory from their insurance or their lender. Because if you go to get a loan and it's in a flood zone, then they require you to carry the insurance. And so with some of those zones changing, people did get the coverage. And when they had their big flood, I don't know if you remember that or not, but Alexandria, a lot of their citizens, I don't know, benefited from.
They did benefit.
Yes, because otherwise the disaster plan would not be available for those people, even if it is a national disaster.
Yeah, I think I'd like some more information. I mean, because we're not under the gun,
Right, we're not under any gun.
so this isn't like a one-time offer type of thing. and,
No.
Maybe you could have more information, because I think the overwhelming majority of our residents, I mean, we would have to have a biblical flood for them to be effective.
I don't know, because you live right just south
You know,
of
it's
the.
funny, I have a piece of my property that's probably 5 foot by 7 foot that's in the floodplain. So every time I've gotten a mortgage, I've had to file for an exemption because I had to have, they said, no, you're in the floodplain.
You should sell that little parcel.
And it
It's right at my driveway.
is any part of your property, it could be just a corner of
That's
your
all it is
property.
for me.
If
That's
it
what I'm saying.
is, it still
You're in
makes
the
your
floodplain.
whole property in a flood zone.
So here's the map of the town. The town is like the pinkish area here for anyone who can see it.
Mhm.
The yellow is the shorter term floodplain and the blue, I don't know if you, there's really not much blue, but that's the longer term floodplain.
Oh, where they plan to expand it?
Well, there's like 100-year and 500-year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so blue would take a pretty catastrophic flood, yellow is a bad flood. Obviously, most of the town is not really susceptible to flooding, but everyone along the river has that chance. And there's actually, so down south of 67, there's a little bit of, you know.
I want to know about that blue going toward my house.
According to this, your entire
Get a
house
dog,
is
you're
within a
fine.
floodplain, so. No, yeah, so what Steve was saying is, Hilltop Circle, the property is kind of the northwest corner, and even some of the northeast corner of that whole development are in floodplain. There are no improvements, it looks like, within any of these floodplains, but the improvements are really the bigger issue. That's, I mean, it's one thing to have part of your property in a floodplain,
Right.
if part of your improvement, even if it's like a deck, you're just not gonna get it flooded.
Right.
And you're probably not gonna be able to mortgage your property either. The other thing is, this whole thing is about government-backed flood insurance. There may be other private flood insurance available, but I'm sure it's ultra expensive. The average federal policy is something like $700 a year. So it's high, but, you know, most people aren't gonna get it. They're not anywhere close to the flood zone. And the people who do end up getting it are probably getting it because they have to, so $700 is probably a lot better than either not getting a loan or whatever the private insurance might be. And then, as far as the town goes, I mean, obviously the incentive is what it is. The big disincentive is that ordinance that they sent you, which is what, like 6 or 7 pages maybe? The town's responsible for enforcing that ordinance, which you would enforce it just like your current zoning ordinances. It would be adopted as part of your zoning ordinances. And right now, the town does have in its little zoning preamble, it talks about this identifiable flood zones. And the purpose of these flood zones is to fulfill the requirements of this national flood insurance program. But then it doesn't actually create a flood zone and says that there are no flood zones in fact, and then doesn't regulate any of the flood zone stuff like you're supposed to according to that ordinance. So for some reason, this is included in the preamble, but then not addressed ever again in zoning ordinances. So the basics are there, I guess, that's a bonus for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ordinance is long and complex, but it's very standard, and it just is what it is. I mean, there's not a lot we would change to it, we would just change whatever, you know, when it says municipality, we change it to say Daleville. That's about it, so.
Well, this is my thinking on it. I want to do what's right for the town and for the residents. And so I don't want it to, if it's not costing the town anything, and it's the right thing to do for the residents to have that option, but I don't want it to cost them an additional $1,000 a year if they wouldn't have wanted it. You know, I just don't know what.
So-
That's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, you're gonna have to adopt the ordinance, which is adopting a zoning ordinance, that's a process in itself. But your map, which is 2 colors right now, should, in theory, be 3, maybe 4 colors. But it'll create a 5th color. And you'll want to designate all that area along the river probably as a flood zone. And that way you can have more flood ordinance regulations actually regulate those parcels. But since you're in the midst of doing some of these zoning ordinance amendments anyways, really you're not doing anything that you're not already doing now. So, I mean, from a cost standpoint, it's fairly minimal. It's just the administration and enforcement stuff down the road.
So let's kind of absorb this, and hopefully Amy will get more information. Maybe Joe will come up with something additional, maybe not, so, and address it next month. So, okay. All right. Then I got notified by the Madison County Council of Governments that they would like for us to participate with them, and they have in the past. We actually paid a fee for a few years with them to participate in a grant with the Madison County. And, but they wanted us to participate in this new grant. It's called Landscape Scale Restoration Grant Opportunity. And they want basically us to join in. I think it's for them to have a better chance of getting the grant. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that we'll probably do this. This isn't costing us any money to participate.
What's our benefit?
What's that?
What's our benefit?
What's our benefit? We could get a grant for landscape scale restoration, which includes trees and various other projects that we've been going through nationally, so. So I just wanted to let you know, but we do have to, I do have to tonight. I need to provide a support letter that goes into the grant that says we support this grant opportunity, we support Madison County and doing this. If you don't mind, I'll put it together and email it out to everybody so you can have a review of it. And we'll go from there, okay? All right. Anything else? Yes, Amy?
Just let everybody know, I have filed our first claim with the CARES Act. Delville has been allotted approximately $53,000 through the CARES Act to refund for any of our COVID-19 expenses. And the first claim that I filed was for approximately $11,000. So we'll see how that goes, and then I can do more claims. So that's our first start, just want to let everybody know.
So James, do you know much about that? I was wondering, because we were allocated 53,000. Was the whole bunch given to Delaware County and then allocated from there? In other words, if someone, let's say someone doesn't use any of their money, or Callan doesn't, do they reallocate within Delaware County and we get more money? If that's,
Callan's not incorporated, so they just automatically go into the county's pool.
okay.
I know the county was allocated like 3.7 million when they go. I don't know if that 3.7 million has been like sort of allocated out to all the small communities.
No, there's separate allocations. There's, the county's allocation is its own, and then each town has its own. Now, whatever's not used, my understanding is all the towns concentrate as a whole. Whatever's not used goes back into the town and the city's pot.
Okay, so we could get an additional amount.
Oh, yeah, you could regardless. I mean, like I said, if someone doesn't use all theirs, then that money's presumably available. It's
I know
just,
they've even discussed some of the other counties.
yeah,
If they don't use all theirs, it can go back into the pot and be
yeah.
reallocated elsewhere.
Okay. So I know you're working on pulling together more expenditures, right, that qualify for this, right?
Yes,
So
I'm working on,
there's many other
there's
avenues. we
different
have.
categories that you have to file the claims under, and that was just one area.
Okay, all right.
I know too, that I've asked to look in, because we're having a shortage in our MPH because of the gas tax.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID, because it's sort of, people's not allowed to get out and drive and do the thing. So I've asked our attorneys out of Indianapolis if they would look into, if we could get money back for that because of the COVID.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, it's pretty, the guidelines are, they're kind of strict, and you basically send the invoices in, and if they decide it doesn't, they throw it out, so.
Yeah.
So we just I sent in everything that was possibly gonna qualify for this first round. First round I did was the technology, that's how many, so as much as I could put in there, we'll see what they allow.
Okay.
And just if you don't ask, you don't.
All right, anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second? All right, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you very much.
What, Brad? So I mean, city council members. Yeah. Which I don't know why they want to fight, go around. I don't think so.
Yeah.
They will give us